absolutely fully engaged on a tragedy that is crossing the country. The President understands the magnitude of this challenge, how devastating it is, how it's devastated individuals and families and communities large and small.
This is a big deal now. Secretary Tom Price now acknowledging President Trump's concerns about a national opioid crisis. So how do we solve this? I want to bring in the doctor right now, Mark Siegel from our Fox News Medical A team, professor of medicine, NYU Langone Medical Center. And Doc, good morning to you.
Morning, Bill.
We wrote a piece called Opioids Prevention, Treatment, and Recovery. There's a lot of great information in here. I want to quote the president from yesterday. The best way to prevent drug addiction is to prevent people from abusing drugs in the first place. If they don't start, they won't have a problem. So then where do we start, Doc?
The President is exactly right on that. Those are very powerful words. And we have to start by not causing the problem in the first place. Bill, the CDC says that in 2015, doctors wrote 259 million prescriptions for opioids. That's enough for a bottle of opioids for you and me. I mean, if we're giving out that many painkillers, if doctors are prescribing that many painkillers, I ask the question, are they always appropriate? They're not always appropriate. You know, with opioids, the more you give, the higher risk of addiction. The longer you're on it, the higher risk of addiction. So if you have a tooth pulled, do you need 30 days of opioids? No. If you had surgery, does somebody need to give you 150 pills and say, call me if you have a problem? There's a saying in medicine, staying ahead of pain. Well, I don't believe in staying ahead of pain, and I also want to know what the cause of the pain is. In other words, if you have a back problem, is it a muscle spasm? Is it really something that needs opioids? Are doctors being educated enough? Here's another important statistic. 4 out of 5 heroin users, 4 out of 5, started with prescription opioids written by a doctor.
That is remarkable. Let me show you a few more numbers. Opioids in America, 91 people die every day from an opioid overdose. 1,000 people treated daily in the ER for opioid misuse. 650,000 opioid prescriptions per day in the United States. Why is it so many? Why is it, as a doctor, so easy?
People will say it's because pharmaceutical companies plied us with too many. People will say because we don't have enough restrictions. I think it's because of lack of education. I think it's because doctors don't realize what they're doing enough. I don't think that they've looked enough at this issue of exposure. And right now, states are starting to mandate education for physicians. In New York State, I just had to take an opioid course to be relicensed.
Is that right?
Registered in New York State.
Has that happened before? Is that
never before? And you know what I found taking that course? It reminded me, do I need it in this situation? Do I need to prescribe it in that situation? It made me reflect on it. And that's what doctors need to do, because a patient may come in and put pressure on you to prescribe.
So you're making the case that states need to re-educate the doctors about the dangers of this addiction.
States, yes. Also, I think that the Drug Enforcement Agency has a role, and I think the FDA has a role. The FDA right now is looking at this issue of how long they should allow you to get a prescription for. Maybe it's only 7 days. What's the purpose of the prescription? And again, I want to get to the underlying medical problem. I don't want to throw a medication at it.
Very smart. You conclude by saying doctors must think carefully each time we write a prescription for pain. That's your piece out today.
It's our license on the line, and it's our patient's health on the line, Bill.
Thank you, Doc.
That's how to squash it.
Mark Siegel.
Good to see you.
You bet.